welcome everybody to Conversations in Ken's Cafe, bringing people together. And we have two beautiful people, Jolene, Alexis. Thank you for coming back. Camp Canna was absolutely amazing. I had a wonderful time there. Let's just jump into it, because anybody that really wants to know you guys, that we've done shows before, just go back and search them and find out more. But let's just jump right in. How did you guys think it went at Camp Canna from your point of view, from your perspective?
Amazing.
Yeah, so good.
Amazing.
Again, better than we could have imagined.
Yeah.
We put so much time and prep into planning it and thinking about all the details and stuff. And then when it ends up coming to fruition the way that it did,
in spite of bad weather,
amazing. People were setting up. It was pouring rain Friday.
Mm-hmm.
They were setting up their tents. It wasn't warm at all. But reverse back to Thursday before Camp Canna, while we're setting up, we're all melting. It was so hot. Plus 35. We're thinking, oh gosh, we got to set up something to cool these people down. We need something to cool off. And then the next day it poured and it was cold and it was freezing, and people were setting up their tents with big puddles inside of them, and they're just the happiest people. And I was
they're cannabis people. What do you expect? We're always happy people,
Yeah, so just everybody's spirits were really high Friday. It was actually kind of nice because it brought people inside that first night, just kind of
together
into the group, and then it was just beautiful from there.
Yeah, I mean the weather only got better.
I
could play, and the vibe is always weird. That's something that's so amazing, because some events the weather turns and people get quite miserable. And don't get me wrong, we all probably had one little moment where we're hey, I wish it was warmer.
Yeah,
but you didn't feel that in the vibe. It was so good.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, and you got to consider, because you guys played sports on Saturday, you had the Canna Olympics, and it was not so hot like the day you guys were setting up, which would have been a pain in the butt. It kind of was just that perfect temperature, not too cool, but not overly hot, and you wanted to participate.
Right.
Absolutely.
100%. And the baseball was so good. That's something that we didn't get to do year one that we planned on doing. Alexis was super excited about. So it was really cute to see everyone have the most epic game of baseball ever. It got intense there a couple times.
They were having way too much fun. That's what happens when you get a bunch of people that ingest cannabis and just relax and really enjoy a day.
Yeah.
So you guys had so many different events, and I know you guys put out a survey. So tell us a little bit about the results from the survey. How did other people think your event went for the weekend?
Yeah, so our satisfaction surveys came back with glowing results, amazing results. There was it was different this year, because last year there was enough people there that it was possible for me to get around to everybody before they left and ask them, hey, what would you like to see different next year? And I got to have that face-to-face conversation with everybody year one. And and we made those tweaks and stuff into year two, putting up a map schedule and that kind of stuff. And so sending out the survey was super helpful for us just to hear the tweaks. But I find that the tweaks were things that we already knew. They wanted to see more LP presence. And so,
us too,
we're there too. So, and it's just nice because it takes time to really gain trust from the industry and then also prove that it works. So 89% of the campers that came to Camp Canna will buy something that they saw at Camp Canna. They're telling their friends and families about it. Building that return on investment report is so important, just to have the LPs understand that this is something that we really need to invest into, that you can't sleep on the consumer market. They're the people that are, building your brands. And it's so nice to see it in action for even Plaid Trout, because he's a brand new to market LP, and he right out the gate got involved in Camp Canna, and he came and embodied the entire build intimate relationships with the consumers framework. And it's crazy to see just how successful he is doing now and how that is a direct correlation of his involvement with the event. So
well, and that's the thing, and as more people get that information, you're going to get more of the larger LP involvement. How do you think that the people enjoyed the bands and the entertainment?
Not. You listen to them. It was like
I sat there, yeah,
down to your soul. It was so good. Another interesting thing though about the LPs this year is last year for the Bud Patrol, it was mostly doobies, right? And Metafarm Labs was so cute. We had some indica and sativa, but also we had olive oil of the syringes of olive oil. There we go. My brain processed that finally. So that was nice because there are so many medicinal, recreational consumers that don't smoke, they ingest it. So it was nice to be able to provide that around dinner time.
Yeah. I think for the entertainment, people had a really good time. The one thing, I guess, with the sound baths that some suggestions came back would to be like, I guess it's kind of difficult because the people that don't want to be in the sound bath also don't want to be quiet outside the sound bath. So, dude, I'm one of them. I'm the first person to get in shit when I'm supposed to be quiet.
At least you can admit it. At least you can admit it.
And so, yeah, next year, just trying to figure out something, I guess, for the people that don't want to participate in the sound bath to do, whether that's like a coffee in the park, like with the gazebo where the educators were Saturday, or just something to draw them away. It's forever changing. It's always going to be tweaks. There's never going to be a finish line where we're like, okay, that's perfect now. You know what I mean? Like it's always going to be a work in progress. So,
and it should be.
And it's just amazing. It's amazing how like we got 202 people there this year. And like the amount of growth just year over year, that's insane.
And non-consumers again.
And non-consumers, our non-consumer market grew, which is nice.
I'm glad.
Me too, because those are the megaphones for our community. We can megaphone all day long, but when the non-consumers go out there and they're also advocating for us and what we're doing and why it's so important, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Well, and it's bringing those people in, and a lot of those are local to your community. Are you finding that we're reaching more further away from the Red Deer and the Pine Lake area? Or is it basically a lot of just the locals?
No, like we had people travel from Vancouver, from Ontario, from Columbia. We had people from all over coming to Camp Canna this year. So yeah,
truthfully, our community and the community we live in is like 40 years in the past still. So there was a huge stigma last year around us and hosting the event. And then it was nice to see how that kind of like grew a little seedling and a stem up. Like, yeah, maybe it's not so bad. It was good. It was insightful. There's education. And then this year, actually, we've seen more people willing from our community just to come and partake on the educational segments. There was a lot of people, the non-consumers, that's why they wanted to come, was for these educational segments because you can't get that anywhere else.
And I don't want to say too much, but I was one of the speakers, guys, talking a bit about biology. How did people find that one?
Rave.
Just for the ha-ha.
Reviews. I have never got so many raving reviews, Ken. You're just a little light in the community, honestly. I've had so many people come up to me and say that was wonderful, and they're so happy they found you, and they learned so much that they didn't know before, and that's what we need, right?
Absolutely.
It was good. And I really liked how the educational speakers, it kind of developed over the weekend. So
Irene Donahue.
From
medical health services.
Yeah.
Medical cannabis health services.
There we go. That's what I was trying to
She did
process.
like a dosing and gummy class for making.
And I was there. It was an amazing class.
And she made a recipe for, so if you were at camp, you got to go home with the physical recipe that you guys made.
And then Amanda.
Amanda
after that.
Breeze.
She was late for hers because she was competing in the Canna Olympics, obviously.
And so you can find Amanda at Emerald Temple Living if you want some more education on terpenes.
Yeah.
But so right before that in the Canna Olympics, and she also has a podcast on Spotify called The Smoking Spot. And I died laughing listening to her recount her experience of the Canna Olympics, because right after she's giving a terpene talk and one of the rounds was a smell test. And so she's like, in my head, I'm freaking out. Like, everyone is going to think I'm a fake if I don't nail this down. And I know I got it, but I'm getting nervous. It was so cute. I was laughing and laughing. And she does such a wonderful, informative job. And there was people at her seminar who actually do terpene talks, and they said they learned something there, which they weren't expecting. So that is also beautiful.
Yep.
And then following it up, we had this crazy little gentleman named Ken.
There are days that I feel crazy. This happens to be one of the moments that I think I'm crazy enough to ask a crazy question. Would you guys have me back next year?
100%. I would make the question period longer for you next year, to be honest, because once again, that is such a valuable part of these seminars, segments, however you want to say it. We call them educational sessions. Because once you get that feedback from the crowd, you develop the conversation in the area you weren't expecting to take it, but it's so informative.
Well, and bringing the crowd into it. And I had the next gentleman, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, that spoke after me about
Dr. Fred.
Yep. And actually I got to get him on here, but he sat there and listened to me, and then I sat there and listened to him, and we both learned things from each other that we had no idea about, because we were talking about it after the show. But yeah, it's amazing.
Similar.
Yes. And he got me really, really buzzed right before my talk. Did he tell you that?
No. He did that on purpose because he knew he was following you up. He was nervous.
I know. He says, we'll just mellow this out a little bit here. Yeah. I always smoke this before I go speak. So here, try this, right? It's like, and then he wouldn't take it. It's like, oh man. But it was fun. It was really fun.
So amazing. And it was such an in-depth conversation. And I love that he sat there and listened to you so that he didn't repeat anything. And he actually could then build off what you taught everyone for his segment. Loved it.
And I was actually impressed with the amount of campers that stuck around on Sunday. For the education. Like, there was a good crowd there for both of you, I think, and a diverse crowd. You know what I mean? Like, we had reps that rep licensed producers. We had just regular consumers, non-consumers, like growers, a really good variety of audience and quite a bit of them. So that was really nice to see. I don't think we did one educational segment for Sunday, the first day. And I'd say
Dave
probably
Dormer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Dave Dormer. He did like a history of cannabis.
And I honestly felt bad for him because Sunday, like right after breakfast, a lot of people left before he started. And it was pretty skeleton around there by the time he got there. And then I felt bad for him because it's hard to speak to only a couple people.
Yeah. I actually, ladies, I had him on. He did a 2-hour special on cannabis history on the channel. So you guys can check that out. Anybody that's watching this in the future.
We've done Dave's tour. If you guys haven't done Dave's tour and you're listening, it's a really wonderful tour. It's a great evening out with friends, a mom's night out. That's what we did. A bunch of moms got together, and that's what we did for our mom's night out. We
smoked more pre-rolls than he's had any group smoke before.
He said that. He's like, I
He's like,
thought
you
you
guys
That's
are
a Canna skis, guys. That's Canna skis is his
Kananaskis.
It's like
okay.
you're going out to
Yeah.
the Kananaskis, but it's Canna.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
and he
very informative.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And do you know if he's doing another event, because he did the first art and cannabis event in Calgary? Have you guys heard of any if he's doing another one? I know he's supposed to be, but I'm not sure when.
Yeah, I believe he is. Just I don't think in the winter. I'm not quite sure what
I
he's
think
doing
he's
for
doing
that.
another one for the fall.
He teaches
Yeah.
at the university, so he does that during
Yeah.
the fall. Winter. Mhm.
And guys, that's one of the things. Like he teaches at the university media, social media, and media, because he was in the media for several years,
Yes,
or
he was
over a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He was a reporter.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Won awards, an award-winning reporter, photojournalist, I think he was called.
Mhm.
But yeah, you guys have had some amazing speakers, and it's too bad that the first year there wasn't that many people, but I think it's gonna be something that's going to grow as more of the legitimate LPs kind of coming in, and your crowds are going to get larger. How large can you guys go at that location?
We can get pretty large there. We can get over 1,000 if we wanted to, because we can expand
Mhm.
the other way. But once we outgrow the venue we're at, we actually have a really nice one that we'd like to move to.
A way nice one.
It's would be all campsites.
It was the dream to start at, but we have to grow to get there.
Yeah,
You know
so
what I
we'll get
mean?
there. And it's on
Yeah,
the
it's a little pricey too. Yeah.
Yeah, that and just it would require so much more people to actually make it cost effective for people.
and
Exactly.
volunteers, like the Bud Patrol for that
Yeah.
one, because it is a larger space.
Mhm.
You would need a lot more people moving around to help people who have mobility issues get where they're going, because we like to be inclusive to everyone.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, and you guys are, and that's one of the beauties about facilities that you guys are going to be looking at. They are going to be friendly to people in wheelchairs and with mobility issues. They're our community. They're like I love people that smoke to get high, but I'm more about the medicinal side of it, and I always will be, because I'm taking it. It's my medicine.
Yeah,
Right?
we're oiling our joints because we're getting old.
Yes, we were talking about that before the show, and you have 4 children.
I do, and they're all getting old, Ken. It's really sad.
No, what's going to be sad is when you have empty nest syndrome, and your husband's going to be oh my God.
This is my new baby right here. I'll just treat her as my child.
Travel the world. We'll just do whatever
Actually,
we want.
our
We'll just
goal,
pop in at holidays.
We bug the kids all the time because we tell them, we did have our kids quite young, but Freedom 45, that's going to be for us. We're going to be traveling the world, doing all the things. So we'll get
Freedom
there.
45?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Because they'll all be gone.
Well, yeah. We'll see if that actually happens.
Okay, well, they'll all be old enough that I can leave for a month and not worry.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's more the point. Because like the way our society is, it's kind of crazy out there, and I'm not sure. Hopefully it's only another year or so before it gets better.
I hope so too, because right now it's pretty bleak for these future generations. But at the same time, there's creative mentality going around. Like, you're seeing a lot more young entrepreneurs nowadays than you used to. You see kids recognizing that they got to start building up a little nest egg when they're young. I don't know. Our kids always joke that they're just going to pool together, the 5 of them, and buy a house. And then they'll buy the next one a house. And that way, it works out. And they'll just live together as a little herd.
A little herd. I like that. Yeah, the herd's coming over for supper, honey. We should run.
That's our daily.
Yeah, no doubt, right? So to get back to the camp, have you guys actually picked a date yet for next year?
Yeah, it's an annual event, so it's the same weekend every
Yep.
year, August
Okay.
16th to the 18th for next year in Alberta. And the date is pending for Ontario.
Oh, I was like, notice how she said Alberta.
Yes, I was
A couple
thinking.
other provinces, not just
Yes.
Ontario. We've been looking at. Alexis has been seriously looking. This is a goal of hers. She wants to have a cross Canada tour.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be the coolest thing ever. Pack up our kids, travel the country, throw Camp Canna on the weekends. Like, it's pretty much a dream life.
Well, and see, that's my kind of half-ass plan. Is it's all about the biology tour and traveling back and forth across Canada.
Nice.
You know, and doing events like Camp Canna, and teaching people more about what's going on. So a lot more into the educational side, and then have the entertainment. And you can actually draw two different crowds. You can draw the crowd that wants to stay up late and listen to loud music, and you could draw the crowd that wants to be there in the morning for an early coffee and start learning.
Well, and you've seen that at Camp Canna with the indica and sativa. And it was honestly, it melted my heart on Saturday night when we had the big movie going, and then we had directional speakers kind of going towards them because, you know, they wanted to be by the fire, just comfing down. And they all had little blow-up couches, so they were literally in the couch.
Oh, sweet.
Now
that's a tailgate party.
Right, and they're all sitting around the fire in their little blow-up couches on the indica side watching the movie. I was like, this is the most homey, beautiful experience ever.
Camp Sativa, on the other hand, was complaining that they didn't get their own movie by the fire. And
yes, I was actually at that fire, and we were all going, hey, man, we're missing out here. What's going on?
Yeah, but you guys got a laser show, and you stayed up late, you little animals.
That's right.
Late. I mean, I was in bed by 2 a.m, okay? That's late? Come on. 6 a.m. That's late.
That's my bedtime. This is why I camp over by the indica. He's over by the sativa.
Yeah. So what, if any, complaints did you guys actually see, or are you willing to talk about that?
Yeah, we didn't receive any complaints.
Negative Nellies ever. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I would say that there was one complaint. There was a complaint from a participant that complained that there was very little flow to the outdoor market. Like, the outdoor market was placed in the wrong spot. But my response to that, unfortunately, is it has to be where it is because it can't be visible from the gate. Because we have licensed producers involved to protect their licenses, it cannot be visible from anywhere minors are present, and outside the gate is one of the spots. So, I mean, it's hard to get everybody 100% satisfied when they're not 100% sure of the hoops that we have to jump, honestly. And so that, honestly, if that is our biggest complaint, which it was, like, I think we're laughing, like, at the end of the day. We couldn't fix it if we wanted to because of the compliance issues. So we're good.
Well, and that part of that, I think, was the cold as well.
And not only that, it got set up a little bit different than we had anticipated on the maps that the vendors got for their placement. But that was because we were missing one of the people didn't set up their booth, and they were one of those main people where everyone judged their spot, you know what I mean? So it left a weirdness, but I think it was okay.
I honestly, like, it didn't have very good. I'm not quite sure where it didn't have good flow, because, like, if you came and got the food and then you went to the indoor market, you go out to the outdoor market. Anytime you walked to your campsite, you had to walk through the outdoor market. So I think it's, you know, not everybody can be 100% satisfied. But when it came to the overall planning, the overall flow, what happened at the event, the vibes that they got from the event, the education they got from the event, were all like 10 out of 10. So,
and
that's what really matters.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was sad about this year, since we're talking about all the doom and gloom,
we're getting since we're having therapy sessions.
Oh, yes, please.
Last
Get
year
it
we
off
had
your heart.
0 first aid incidents, and that was a stat I was really happy about, and I loved shouting about. And
This year we got
this year I
3.
screwed up. Okay, I'm gonna take full blame right now, you guys. I made
Okay.
murder bases. That's what we're calling them.
Let's go back to this for a minute. Wait a minute.
It's hard.
Stop.
I
Our
I
budget was
made-
so paper thin. I was like, we should buy some bases.
We
She's
couldn't.
like, we can't afford bases.
Look at the
I'm
budget.
like, how hard could it be? We'll just make some.
So we
So
made
we
1960 bases,
And they were literally pillows on plywood,
really thin plywood,
but
and I
way
stuck
too
them.
much fluff.
But I was worried about the
To
plywood,
the
right?
point
So
where
I
people-
like stuffed those
People were
babies.
stepping on the base, and the whole thing was going right out from under them. And then they were like gone. They were murder bases. It was the bases are lava. Don't touch the bases. And
They're
so
decor.
next year we're gonna find a sponsor to specifically sponsor a set of bases,
And you know what, guys?
because those
We
were our
already
incidents.
found someone who was willing to lend us bases next year. In fact, we found 2 people after they witnessed the mayhem of the murder. They're like, "Why didn't you ask?" And we're like, "Well, we thought we had it together."
I coach my kids' baseball team. We got them in the bag. I'll bring them.
We literally do, though. We're
They
there
do.
every week. at
Exactly.
baseball.
Yeah. But anyways, it's fine. One person accidentally like skinned their knee playing baseball. The other person fell, skinned their hand playing baseball. Just and little, not even first aidable, like actual like real
Just a
incidents.
little cleanup.
We just need a little cleanup and a band-aid.
But it gave our
And-
first aid responder something to do. She
Yeah,
was
'cause
happy.
she was so
like,
bored.
I'm in it. I'm in it.
And then
Up
also
there, baby.
our third incident. I don't know. I'm gonna call out Amanda Breeze. Temporary lapse of judgment, Amanda. It was the final round of the Canna Olympics. It's our creativity round. They had 4 minutes and 20 seconds to build a smoking device. There was a table with an assortment of items.
Fruit,
No
water,
lack of
jugs,
items. You had so many
stabby
things you could have
things,
chose from, and
stems.
she chose the one item, which was a pineapple, and she happens to be allergic to pineapple for the rest of the weekend. Amanda was having a very low-key allergic reaction to the pineapple. And so, I mean, at this
Really?
point, baseball's more dangerous than cannabis.
She forgot until she went to like on her pineapple bong,
Yeah.
and all the
Yeah.
pineapple juice got in her mouth, and right away her lips started tingling and swelling, and she was like, "Eek, I guess I lose."
Oh man, it's that moment in time where you'll think to yourself, "Oh, am I ever stupid?"
Yeah,
Oh man.
it's all right. She still made an awesome bong.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was
Hey,
cool.
yeah.
And she came in third place in the Canna Olympics.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
And she was like the crowd favorite, I think, honestly. She's going to come back next year and give Corey a run for his money.
And not pick the pineapple.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We just probably won't put pineapple in.
And the winner of the Canna Olympics this year, they got like some amazing things: a getaway weekend at a high B&B, a year's supply
Yeah.
of scoopers from Canadian Lumber and Bong Chi.
The sommelier course from Canna Reps.
Yeah, they got a free sommelier course to enroll in that.
That's the
and the winning
Canadian
baseball
Lumber.
team. Yeah.
And Canadian Lumber is amazing.
Mhm.
There's no hidden ingredients. It's all natural. Doesn't hurt your lungs.
Mhm.
yeah.
And the winning baseball team is going to be at the Canna Reps event tomorrow, the Collectors Cup.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're all going to be there.
Yes.
Except
Cool,
I was
cool.
on the
Which was
losing
my
team.
team.
Not my team.
Yes. It was
But my team
that
looked
won
pretty, profesh out there on the field. I'm just gonna lay that down.
with their plaid trout shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who won first place and got that trip?
Corey from
The
Bean Hub.
You can
Okay.
find him at the Bean Hub on Instagram, Facebook. Really great resource for growing as well. Everyone is so nice in there. You can never ask a bad question. You'll just be surrounded with love and support no matter what. So the Bean Hub, and also get great seats from there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But But yeah,
And
we love
it's
Corey. And he wasn't even gonna play. I called him from the parking lot when I was rounding everyone up. I heckled him. I was like, "Get down here, get in here and play. Come on, what are you doing? It's Saturday."
Yeah.
And so he did. He came down, and then he ended up winning. Imagine if he
Yeah.
would have just went and smoked one instead.
I think that was the idea. You suckered him into it, or you made him feel like, oh, all right, I'll go do
everybody's
this.
looking at me.
Yeah. Okay, but
Well,
seriously,
you can.
did you see how cute the little nuggets and pot leaves my mom crocheted for the one round were?
No, I didn't actually.
I
They're
wish I
so
had
cute.
one here. I'm gonna post one tomorrow now.
Okay.
The cutest.
Post Amanda's picture
My
because I love it.
yeah, my mom, she's not a cannabis user, but she
Yeah.
went out and tried to find the perfect wool that represented
Your mom totally is a cannabis
now
consumer.
she is.
Yeah.
CBD gummies.
She does CBD gummies.
I got her hooked.
Cool.
Yeah. And actually, I was talking to her tonight, and it was quite a spin on reality because when I was young, I used to go and hide and worry about her finding me, and then she'd get mad at me like, "What are you doing? Smoking weed?" And now she's helping my little brother grow a plant, and she was sitting there trimming it in her house last night, and I was like, "Mother, who are you?"
He's you, then. How's that sound?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, she never helped me do that, so I guess she's growing.
She
I love
wants to make her own medicine.
That's true. And actually, she's really been digging. She's having a hard time finding the perfect gummy. But
Okay.
I found her an indigenous brand. They're Mohawk gummies, and they're out of Ontario. So she's been shipping in her gummies from Ontario because she tried them all, and she said that one's her favorite one. And they are a really nice blend.
And those gummies, the THC ones, like they ain't playing.
No.
I one time was being cocky. My cousin was over. I gave her a 50 milligram one, and I was like, well, if you're taking 50 milligrams, I've got to be able to take 100. And like I've taken 100 before. Like at the Canna Expo, that happened to me. I was offered a fudge by Jesse, and it ended up being like 150 to 200 milligrams. And I got so high from it, and I had to go on stage like right after. So very similar to your Canna experience was me at Canna Expo. So it happens. But anyways, I was all like, we went for this walk, and I was like in the zone. Like we were walking so good. I was like power walking without even realizing that this gummy has like kicked in.
Yeah.
And I kept back home, and it hit me like a wall. Like, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh man, I gotta like hide Easter eggs tonight. Like I'm way too stoned for this. Like anyways, it was fun. It got done.
She didn't remember where the eggs were.
No,
either.
I didn't. It was good.
It was a surprise for
fun
everyone.
for both of us.
To answer Silly Lily's question, though, I see there in the comments. Yes, we had the same amazing chefs from last year.
Yes, Harvest Eatery.
One of them, unfortunately, wasn't able to come because he ended up getting surgery on his spine 3 days before.
And he tried to come.
His
wife had to tell him no.
And we told him no.
Yeah, we were like, nay.
The women are ganging up here. He was in a halo brace, and like, you can't.
No.
It's like the cannabis got me, guys.
But just give me another joint, I'll be fine.
Right. If you're ever in Shaunavon, Saskatchewan, you can find them there. The Harvest Eatery is amazing, and so
check them out on Instagram, guys. The food.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's like. Oh.
What was your favorite? Did you get any food, Ken?
Actually, I tried pretty much everything, and it was all good. How can you pick a favorite from that?
I have very minimal pictures on my phone because we were running around making sure everything was perfect. But I do have one clip from when I was in the kitchen, and it's you and Shay's dad.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are going over the menu, and it's the cutest thing. Well, I think about breakfast at 10 and 11. I can get both those in.
You have me? I don't remember this incident. Okay. Unless you got video, I'm not going to believe you. It never happened.
So
it never happened.
And Roberto actually has his own restaurant in Shaunavon. Also, he's the one with amazing tacos and salsa. Yeah. So Shaunavon Pizza is where you can find him, but he sells his tacos there too. So don't worry, it's delicious.
Yeah, I just I guess I'll just have to make a trip to Saskatchewan every once in a while.
We should all pinch on a bus and just have a monthly dinner bus. We can sesh on the bus, dinner, sesh home. It's a win-win-win.
Yeah, you got a bus. You know, you're gonna might have to have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 buses that you keep that going all the time.
Yeah.
I would be on it every time.
Yeah.
Well, that I have no doubt of.
Today with his salsa, and I was like, I'm on my way.
Oh, don't you wish you just could do that?
Yes, I do. I wish they were so closer. Hi, Mad Dog.
So, where do you guys see Camp Canna progressing to next year? Like, what things are you going to add? And what things are you dreaming of in the future?
Yeah, I think it's just keeping growing the experience, growing the people and the experience,
but keeping the vibe,
like, so that it's balanced. I don't want to just have 500 people and have it be like a meh experience. You know what I mean? I want to keep it like there was 200 people this year. Those 200 people were amazed. You know what I mean? They had the best time. So many people were talking about it. They were all so happy. Said they had so much fun. They can't wait for next year.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it was year one.
Just making sure it grows with the attendance growth as well. We take pride in our schedule. I don't know if you noticed. We like to do all the things. So we make sure all the things are available. And even like Friday night, because it was so dreary all day, the lights in the light trail didn't get a good chance to charge up. And I still had a herd of people come and find me for midnight, and we're ready for our walk.
Yeah.
And so that was exciting because it's the vibe, right? Yeah. Like it doesn't matter. We just want to go walk in the trees at night. We want a tour guide.
Yeah, I think if anything to add for next year, it's just going to be like little things. Like I'd like to put honestly, we're not reinventing the wheel. Now we have a machine. Like we've built a vehicle now, and now we're on the road. So if anything, we are just simply driving, maintaining, and having it grow organically as it does.
And like the lit trail too, like we put more into it every year. We want it to get better and better because that's something we super love. You're out under the stars, getting to experience nature.
It was lit.
It was so lit. But I was sad because we donate those lights to the community. We don't take them back. Yeah. We leave them there so that anyone in the community can go walk, because in the fall it does get quite dark. So it's nice to have a lit trail to get a little exercise, fresh air. And
I appreciate that.
All year. All year they were set up. The weekend before, a kid got a little crazy and broke all the solar panels off.
From last year's lights. Yeah.
From last year's lights. So instead of like adding to last year, we essentially started over this year. So it was a little disheartening, but it happens. And it was still amazing. So I can't imagine like what it would have been like with double the lights.
Yeah. It was lit. It was so cool. Like it was so awesome.
And the mushrooms, did you see the mushrooms at night?
I caught just a glimmer of it, guys, because I was over at the fire,
Yeah, we made like life size, like 9 feet tall mushrooms, and they glow. And they had little lights in them. So you walk across the bridge, and then there's these like giant mushrooms. Basically, I just wanted to be like an enchanted forest type vibe.
I wanted to feel little.
Yeah, like feel like you're a kid again. Heal your inner child with this walk we do at midnight. And so
or the game, that dartboard, that giant soccer board.
Oh, I know. That was wild.
I healed my inner child. I loved every second of that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe describe it, ladies, because people are going, what dartboard?
Okay. So there was a giant inflatable dartboard. It was bigger than the backstop of the baseball diamond.
Mhm.
It probably had an extra 10 feet at least on that. And then you kicked a soccer ball, and it was like a dartboard. And then you played darts, but with soccer balls.
And
on
they
this
like
giant
Velcroed
board.
to the wall.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people suggested we get a Velcro board. Like the 90s kids were really talking about
Yeah.
that.
Like I was
You want, like,
seriously
the
going to make a
Velcro
suit.
wall.
It's
Yeah.
me. I started it.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
can
guys,
see that.
I'll get at Alexis about the Velcro
We
suit.
can make that
We can
around.
get it next
We
year.
can make that around in the Canna Olympics. We'll do can you finish your doobie before you fall off the Velcro wall? Or something. We'll see. Really, for us and our vision, it's not just my goal is to make it more financially accessible. Like there were participants of Camp Canna this year that spent $2,500, $3,000 to be there.
Yeah.
And like they spent that because they had to fly here, they had to rent an RV, they had to do the things. And that's the case for the country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people that aren't in Alberta. And
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like that because that's not, you shouldn't have to save up your entire family vacation for one weekend of your life. You know what I mean? Like I could take my daughter to Mexico for the same amount of money for a week. And
Yeah.
so I want it to be financially accessible and just see the different, like the vibes are different in each province. We experience this ourselves when we go to events in Ontario or BC or, you know, these other places. So we just want to make sure that we're bringing that same framework of responsible, dignified consumption, advocating for education for the consumer, and just have it be across the board. But then also how that like feeds into our own data. Like we have, so far our business has been very consumer focused because that is our market. You know what I mean? Like we've somehow tapped into the advocates of the consumers, right? So now we're focusing on other types of events. So in January, we're doing a seasonal sesh. So we're going to have halfway to Camp Canna, a big masquerade ball where we're going to have LPs and sampling available for our QCW verified guests.
This is happening in Calgary.
It's happening in Calgary on January 6th. So that's happening right now. And it's quite interesting to see the difference, like getting people, LPs or companies, brands involved in Camp Canna. The first year was like very challenging because I had to.
It was next to impossible. Don't lie.
It was. And if I wasn't in sales for literally a decade, maybe I wouldn't have got any sponsors year one.
If it was just me, there would have been none. I would have been crying in the corner, guys.
It was like having to not only sell myself, like as Blunts and Beans, or sell us and our care and caution that we're going to take with your license, because that's what you're trusting in us. You know what I mean? It's your license at the end of the day. So, you know, having them believe in us, but then also like feed into the vision of what Camp Canna was, and then prove to them that vision year one. Year two, there was more people reaching out to us. Hey, how can I get involved? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So it's just nice. But then we launched a lottery for the LPs for the seasonal sesh. There's only 14 spots. We're going to have more than 14 LPs want to be there. We did a lottery to ensure fairness. The amount of people that have submitted to our lottery. When she means
lotteries, like put your name in the hat and we'll pull the 14 out
so that we know what's fair.
You don't got to pay for a spot or anything.
And so like, that out there. The amount of people that have participated in the lottery right now or have gotten involved with the seasonal sesh, I feel like it's just going to get easier year after year, because honestly, this is a by community for consumer event. So we need to have our community there for our consumer. So I would love to see every LP in the province at Camp Canna. Like that's what I want to see. You know what I mean? Maybe it's in see every LP there, every accessory company, every maker, little art, you know what I mean, thing. I don't think that it has to be just so small. Like it's going to be small in Alberta, I feel, if we just keep it here.
And that also says a lot too, because, you know, we set a standard and we haven't pivoted, and people see that we're upholding our standard. And I feel like that also makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
We're not just two crazy moms with an idea.
Yeah. It's
no, you're two crazy moms with a brilliant idea and you're putting it all together.
Yeah. It's just like, and you know, there's people that come to us now, people that it's actually quite interesting when you achieve a level of success. I wouldn't say
Mhm.
I wouldn't consider myself successful, but some people do consider us successful, or that we nailed it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And now they want a part of it, or they want a
Yeah.
piece of it.
Yeah.
And
And
they want the whole thing of
or they
it.
want the whole thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
eek. So it's just the kind of interesting people's benchmarks that they place you at. You know what I mean? Like for
Mhm.
me, I'm like, okay, yeah, year 2, we did it, but I still haven't sold out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I still haven't sold out of my event. I still haven't had no tweaks come back in my surveys.
Yeah.
I
You'll
still
never not
have
that part, though.
room to grow, and
Yeah.
I'm not
Yep.
finished yet. But there's like, brands that want to be like Blunts and Beans and blank host Camp Canna. Eek. And
But
it's
at
just
the
like,
same time,
it's hard when you do that because people operate their businesses differently. They have different guiding principles. And we have
Mhm.
been so firm and so strong with our guiding principles and what our framework is and what our standards are that I just don't really have any interest in wavering or even bringing it to the
Then
conversation
don't.
that maybe this is how it is. So no,
Yeah.
we're not going to, but also
Yeah.
saying that we're not going to, also I feel like that means we have to take the next steps to make it accessible for people. Because if I'm not going to allow you, Ken, to host a Camp Canna in BC at your family's acreage, then I
Mhm.
need to bring one to BC because it's obviously wanted there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think that that's kind of where we're at right now, and it's a little bit different. Like it's different conversations. At first it was, hey, have you heard of Camp Canna? No, you haven't, let me tell you. And now it's, hey, how can I be a part of Camp Canna? And
Yeah.
it's like, that's so great, I love that.
Well, and that's where you want to be a part. Well, you set up the venue and all of
Mhm,
that, and then we'll come in and we'll do the count,
mhm.
right?
would it be
But
nice?
That'd
No.
be so nice.
it's on your responsibility
Mhm,
to pull it off. So you've got to go down like at least a week before, and you have to know the venue you're using, etc.
Mhm.
And then Alexis is on the phone and she's contacting all the LPs in that area. Like say the Kootenays has a bunch, and
mhm,
in Vancouver has a bunch, Victoria, Saskatchewan. There's LPs all across this country, and some damn good ones. And those are the ones we want to really highlight is quality.
mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, and their
Absolutely.
process, like, had we not started this journey, we never would have met Into the Weeds. It's an
Mhm,
amazing brand.
Yep.
And he started growing cannabis because it's his wife's medicine.
mhm,
Yep.
And he realized that not everyone could get that same quality of medicine on the
Mhm.
market. And so he had, a service to provide everyone. And I think that's so beautiful.
mhm.
And it's also very rare that you don't find an irradiated weed grown in soil on the recreational market nowadays.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think we need to have more of that. Like, of course, we're on It's All About the Biology channel, um, and it is that. But I'm actually going to be attempting to do hydroponics, but find enough biology to make a really healthy plant in that system.
All right,
I'm going to
so
be doing
let's
some
hijack the
experiments.
show for a minute, Ken, because epic shows have been going on the channel lately. I've been loving every minute of the growing sessions. Have you seen that guy who made the fish tank filtration system he did hydroponics, and he
Hmm.
has it set like a sluice box almost, and
Hmm.
he had his fish in there. He had the most
It's
epic
called
filtration.
aquaponics.
Yes, it was
Yes.
so cool. But unlike most people, he had other bits where he was also composting and
Mhm.
reusing the fish juices. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually started my first seeds in my aquaponic system in my basement.
And
Nice.
how is your wife liking this?
Actually, she loved it. I was growing lettuce, romaine lettuce, and onions. You
Mhm.
would cut an onion, and the juice inside would just flow out, and it would smell and taste like the best onion you've ever had. That's an
Yeah.
aquaponic system done right.
Done right. And that's what I was going to say, because if you do aquaponics wrong, my friends, you are going to have a smelly, smelly room and water. It's not a good time. So a lot of research.
Well, you have to have your swirl filter and your biodigester, and there's all the stuff you need.
Yeah.
And you need to understand all of that. That's how, like, I have tried. I've done worm farming, I've done microgreens, I've done aquaponics, I did deep water culture, but I did a lot of this way before I ever got into cannabis,
Mhm.
because I wasn't hurt at that point. I didn't need cannabis.
You're a gardener.
I was a gardener. I learned how to air clone tomatoes. Now I air clone clones,
Mhm.
and it works beautifully, and it's so easy to actually do. But now that have become a cannabis advocate and this crazy, crazy Canadian that hangs out with wonderful people like you guys, at Camp Canna. And we were at the Grow Up in Edmonton, and you guys are going to be at the Grow Up in Victoria, or actually, Alexis is going to be there
Alexis,
representing you
a
guys.
blunt without her bean.
A blunt without my
Mhm.
bean.
We're supposed to both be going, but I have a family thing I need to deal with back here. So
Yeah.
we're going to send her off and tell her to be on her best behavior without a bean.
And I promised people I was going to be on my worst behavior. So
I just can't see the last time you guys were at the airport and that outfit you guys were wearing.
I know. What am I going to do?
Okay.
I can't.
This
I
is
gotta
the
make one
idea I'm
still.
pitching. You can settle this right now. I think
Okay.
she should do the same one as always, but then look at her head and be like, "Me."
I think she should
not
put
nice.
Mexican
That's
mustache
You
in
asked
there
her, you
too.
don't have me.
No mustache. Listen.
I like the Mexican mustache. Oh, come on.
Do you like
I
how
know.
it grows out of her nose?
I know you're not a news channel, but I'm going to give
Yep.
you some breaking news right now.
Yep. Okay.
I don't have the right pass to get into the smoke sesh with Tommy Chung.
Are you telling the internet you're breaking?
I will be breaking into the smoke sesh with Tommy Chung. So I hope Victoria's security is on point, because I will be getting past them. And since it's only I going, maybe it'll be easier for us to sneak in, because
I
it's
don't
only
know.
one person. I'll
I'm
just
really good
like
at dividing
sneak
a
right in.
crowd.
I'm really good at looking like I belong there, you know?
You just
You're
walk
not.
in like you're supposed to be there, and you're supposed to be there.
Obviously, I'm here to see Tommy Chung.
Why
And-
else
and
are you going? And Wanda James is also going to be there.
Yeah.
She's also a phenomenal speaker.
And we are finalists in 2 categories. We're not going to tell anybody, but we're definitely not under 30. But we were nominated for top under 30, and as well as influencer of the year, which is really nice. So be excited to see that. And we'll be vlogging live from the floor.
Also, I feel like there's 2 people in that category who are actually under 30. So
yeah, I really hope one of them take it.
It's got to be between those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're not going to have a problem talking to Tommy. Just talk to him before the event, and then just walk in with him, and they're never going to question you.
Exactly.
Be his security.
I'm just going to be his security.
We were Remo's security at Grow Up last time.
Yep.
He said it was the best security detail he's ever had.
Yep.
So if you need security,
hit your girls up.
We're pretty flashy about it too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Yeah, so it'll be lots of fun. I leave Saturday morning, and then I'll be just hanging out in Victoria for the day.
Anyone who is there though for Saturday, they're doing a super cool tour of Dabble Cannabis is one of them on it. Some local grows on the island where you can get up close and personal. So if you are going to be there and you could squeak in, please let me know how it was.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll have to come on to chat on the Soil Matters when Av comes back, because he's going to be there, and he helps to arrange the speakers. You guys spoke at the one in Edmonton. Are you speaking at the one in Victoria?
No.
No?
No. We were just going to hype it up and have all the fun.
And not have to worry and have any stress. You're just going to go out and party.
It was just going to be like a little end of the
year. I'm actually happy that we're not speaking now.
Not that I'm not going to
Not
be
that
there.
Julian's not going, but yeah, we're just gonna be vlogging from the floor.
Yeah, so you'll be able to catch us on our channel if you want to sneak in on what's
Stay-
going on.
Stay tuned on the what is it called?
Buns and Beans.
No, not us. What is the when you have a crime plan? What is that called? When you like
Crime plan.
yeah, like I'm planning to break
On your
in
plot?
to the smokes on the plot. The plot is thick.
The plot is getting
Stay
thicker
on
by
the
the minute.
story.
The master plan.
I can't smoke
Okay.
these vape things. They make my brain like short circuit. I think it's the
the
distillate.
Never
Yeah.
know what's in those distillate, guys.
But the thing is, in an hour or so, you're gonna kick back. You can go, and then really enjoy a good night's sleep.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm drinking a coffee right now.
I mean, probably not, but
I'm drinking coffee too. Okay. Hey, blunts and beans. If you're not drinking coffee, you're probably in trouble. Okay.
right?
I would be worried.
Actually, gotta give it to Grow Up for that. Grow Up is the only cannabis event that we have been to that had a sufficient coffee pot.
It was bigger than me. It was. I loved every minute of it.
I don't
I
understand.
never ran out. I was like, this is beautiful.
We don't like
Except-
to throw companies under the bus, but there was one event we went to this year.
Had no coffee.
Had a bar, but no coffee.
No coffee.
Yeah, they had alcohol and no coffee.
I was like,
I was
listen,
like,
friends,
this is wrong.
I'll be across the road at Starbucks.
And it was Starbucks. It wasn't even like a nice roaster nearby.
Yeah.
Now,
We're too
speaking
spoiled.
of coffee and blunts and beans, are you guys still selling coffee on your website?
No, we haven't been for a while now. I think Christmas last year we did a Christmas box and we just weren't getting the same interest as we were before COVID. And it's really hard to approach new coffee companies who quite a few of them think the devil's lettuce still exists, unfortunately. Yeah. If you don't have those numbers backing you to be like, don't worry, look at all these people.
And even on like a foundational level, like I think Jillian and I are very similar in this way that we kind of value experience over items, like objects, things. And so with our box, when we first started it, we were very focused on having it filled with items that were consumable, that you would not have a collection of in your house at the end of the day. And, but then we kept meeting these amazing cannabis accessory companies and like doing the stuff out of there. And that's really how
we transitioned.
That's how we transitioned from the subscription boxes to more of a marketing influencer role. Because we were doing that for the boxes, and then people were like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!"
Also, it turns out not as many people smoke as much blunts and papers in a month as us.
Yeah, what the heck? Like, I don't know. So, anyways, so really, it was just a matter of like, what I'm really excited for is that the seasonal session January, I'm really trying to find a latte bar, like a coffee shop company, to come and set up in our consumption lounge, because then it will literally be a blunts and beans coffee shop, like our dream when we first started. So, just because it's not technically legal today does not mean that you can't be creative and find space for it. So that's kind of like where we're at in our journey. If the spot where you can drink a specialty coffee and smoke a blunt is in our consumption lounge at our event, it works for now.
So where again is the event in Calgary?
So we have an immaculate venue.
It
is insane, Ken. Also, it's a masquerade, so you're gonna have to
bring your wife to the
mask. Get a puppy sitter.
Yeah, I'll get a puppy sitter. I'll just get one of those glasses with the feathers coming out.
Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. Yep, it's gonna be so fun. Yeah.
But is it in the city? Because I know Dave Dormer did the one in the city on city property. He had to have the tent. In January, I don't think you're gonna want to be outside in a tent. So
we have found a venue that was able to offer dignified consumption. It's in a private setting, so we are working within the framework as always for our events. We did go the consumption tent route in the beginning. We were going to do that, but that's not, in my opinion, dignified consumption. So that's not how I want my event to operate because I don't want you to have to leave and walk across the back alley into a tent with no roof and walls, and
Cold.
you know, you can't have like it's cold.
January, it's cold. It's Alberta, okay?
I found a venue that was really great. They're okay with us. There's two types of consumption in the cannabis industry you have to worry about. There's consumable consumption, which I want to be able to be done inside. So I want you to be able to go up to my bar, get a sample from an LP, have that sample, drink it right there if you want, or take it home if you'd like. So I want that to be an option. We have amazing Manna sugar. Maybe she wants to add her sugars to a coffee. You could consume that. Or, but if you want to do combustible, then you just step outside
onto a beautiful patio with beautiful furniture
and heaters and things.
Okay, that was the one I was looking for, was the heaters. Okay,
and the venue is the ones that brought up the heaters. They're like, oh yeah, well, we have heaters. We'll just put them out there.
Because tell them what this venue has hosted.
Oh yeah. Okay. So first off, I called. We don't like to throw companies under, but I called Heritage Park. I called Heritage Park in Calgary, and they sent me through the rigmarole because they have a liquor license. So you're going to run into issues throwing cannabis events anywhere that's licensed by AGLC because they have to give up their liquor license for the entire day. Like it's not like just for that event.
24 hours.
Or you can serve liquor at your cannabis event, which I don't understand, but some people do. Whatever helps you. But it was just like so many little like. It felt very illicit. It like, okay, sure, but you guys can't drink your drinks inside. That definitely can't happen. It has to be in the consumption tent. Well, I'm not going to take a Coke and walk out to the consumption tent and drink it in the freezing cold water.
And be like,
you know what I mean? Like that doesn't make sense. So then, so then I just like kept looking for private venue, the same framework that we used at Canna. So then I found this one and it was so amazing. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way they're going to let us do this here, but I have to call them. I just need to hear them say no. And then I can move on to the next venue. So I called them and I was like, hey, I explained to them, I'm going to be gathering bud tenders, industry leaders, LPs, influencers. I think your venue is perfect for it. I need to be able to offer dignified consumption. That's going to be the deciding factor. Can you provide that for me? They said, of course, we'll put heaters on the patio. You guys are free to do whatever. Also, we had a cannabis wedding. We hosted a cannabis wedding last year.
Cool.
They were the best group we've ever rented to. And it's because they're so clean and respectful and not like, you know what I mean, spilling things or getting rowdy and so
fighting.
Yeah. So, I mean, the stigma was already
gone. No alcohol.
Exactly. So there won't be any alcohol at our events, as always. There's no alcohol at our events, but I mean, people have a hell of a good time, I think, without it. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
maybe we're biased and we have a stigma attached because we don't drink alcohol, but
I think I don't think it's a stigma. I think it's just a general like for the greater good of the data collection of our events, we can't allow alcohol because the second there's an incident, it's not going to be the alcohol's fault. It's going to be the cannabis's fault. And I don't want that statistic to reflect on the whole cannabis industry. But also, there's so many people in the cannabis industry that are recovering addicts that don't want to be around alcohol. And I don't feel like triggering them when they've turned to plant medicine to heal themselves. You know what I mean? In that situation. So for me, I like my journey's always involved people that were addicted to alcohol. And so even myself, like I stopped drinking heavily and started consuming cannabis instead. So for me, it's like, I know that there is that like party spirit inside of me. And like the second I start drinking, I just want to keep partying and that's just who I am. But I can get the same exact experience with a good ass like drink and like maybe a dab or two. And like I'm still fun and still party. So I like if that's how I feel, I can only assume that there's other people that feel that way too. So that's just kind of how we do it. And really all of our events are designed to provide statistics to the government. So yeah.
Well, that's what you did the first year. We talked about that in our first interview together. You know, how did you guys are you guys giving the data from your survey to the government as well, or how What kind of stuff are you getting to the government?
Compiling stats. So at the beginning, when we wanted to have the coffee shop and we wanted to host a big public event, they said oh, kind of scary. We don't have stats. We don't know what to do.
And then so we just we were like, okay, well, we'll throw an event. We'll hold it to your same standards that you would host an alcohol event that you have a special events license for too. I'll let you know what happens. And then it's not like we okay, yeah, we have these stats, we're giving them to the government. That's not the case. What we're doing is we're making noise. Now I have a nationally recognized event that Health Canada, even themselves, reached out to us. And then we kindly reminded them that until they make a license for us, they have no governing authority over us. And as long as we are in compliance with everybody that they do have governing authority over, there's really nothing that they can do. But we have all of these statistics and data backing what we're doing and having it be deemed responsible framework. So if you'd like some assistance in creating the said license that we need, we can help you with that. So basically that's our strategy. I don't know if it's gonna work, but
you need that. We have that backing us now. It's not just us saying it. We can actually pull stats from our own events, from around the world events, and we can bring those to you because we are we're members of the CCTA, that's the Canadian Cannabis Tourism Alliance. So in that association, they're working with the federal government to help move that change to where it should be. And then us as ourselves, we are very in touch with our provincial and our municipal governing authorities because we want to be at the forefront of that. Don't make a silly decision because both of us feel it's very unjust. And as a Crohn's patient and someone who's experiencing early osteoporosis symptoms because of that, I think it's very unjust of Edmonton to just think about consumables. Because I'm sorry, but as Crohn's patients, the combustible, that's what gets my ass back up out of my chair to keep going. And that's what gives me you need that triple threat almost, depending what you have, what condition you're living with. So why are we setting it up as a bar party scene instead of a social community education? And you can have venues like that and events like that as well.
And I think it's something that's interesting to know is that the biggest hang up with public consumption is the question, what is over serving? And we have gathered hundreds of people over the last 2 years and have never limited their consumption. They simply went to how they wanted to consume. We never promoted overconsumption ever.
Low and slow, always.
Low and slow.
Yeah, always.
And we've never had an incident, knock on wood for next year, I guess, but we've never had an incident of overconsumption. So my question to the government is, if you're worried about overconsumption, why do you feel like you need to limit it? People know their own limits. And it affects everybody differently. It's something that needs to be measured as you go. It can't be okay, 1 gram per 3 hours per 100.
They're used to alcohol, though, which impairs people.
Right.
And cannabis does not necessarily do that for most people.
But it depends on the person, the situation, the strain. There's so many little details that can go into changing that experience. And that's why you can't fit it in that same, you've had too much, my friend. Everyone knows where they're at.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes.
Now, Kim did have a little much that night, and Tamara and I sat with her, but that's part of the community. It's oh, you're a little more stoned than you want to be. Well, just don't worry about it. We're here for you. Just let it go, let it flow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because it's good that you brought that up, because what if she was home alone? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a mental game, cannabis. The second you overconsume, it's a mental game. Just like any drug, really. Not a drug, but anything that you take that's going to alter your perception,
Your state of
that is a mental thing. So the second you start, lots of people are oh, I tried it one time, got real bad anxiety. Okay, but were you alone? And what were you doing? And what was your environment like? And were you fighting with anybody that day? Were you stressed? Like, it's not a matter of like the cannabis made you anxious. No, you just need to learn how to unpack that anxiety and guide yourself through it. And that's why Camp Canna is so important for new consumers, because maybe they do get to that point, right? And they just need someone to sit with them and unpack it and guide them through that experience. And so, like, amazing that you were there. She couldn't have had a more educated person to be with her
so
at that exact moment in time.
Through it.
So,
and like, just to specify, guys, when we say there's no limit on alcohol, we mean like they do have limits.
Yeah,
you can drive after you've had one beer. They deem that's too much. We've probably all been cut off once or twice at a bar.
3 fluid ounces per hour. That's what the consumption limit is in Alberta anyways. It's 3 fluid ounces per hour.
Right.
But like that can't be the hang up for cannabis. And we have statistic proving like this is what happens when we don't limit. Granted, we didn't serve any cannabis.
Right. But a medicinal patient can consume and not feel the same impairment as someone trying for their first time, consuming a little more than the average bear for their first time, having that extra edible and wasn't prepared for it. And it does. Like, this is my comfort blanket. She gets me through a lot of stuff. And I, as someone who consumes a lot, I can still be without her and by myself. And that little monkey brain gets going. And now I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can limit it like that.
And I think that cannabis for me was always social. So it's to think that like some people, example, like the consumers that weren't consumers before legalization, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of them. And so these comments are killing me.
They are. Everyone loves you, Ken.
Well, Silly Lily's my wife, and she had a chocolate truffle. And I don't know if you've ever had the experience of having somebody their first time they've ever had a body stone, and you're just like, oh, wow, I'm not sure what's going on. And it's like, I just tell her, honey, it's going to be okay. You're not going to die. And laughing my ass off because I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, you're so supportive.
Yeah.
Just become one with the couch. It'll all be okay.
Yeah, you're going to live, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody dies from a cannabis overdose.
No, and
people die from alcohol overdose, etc. all the time.
Yeah, and the difference is you can nap off too much cannabis, and you can't do that with alcohol.
Yeah.
And if you know somebody that is a high THC and has been smoking, and you have CBD, you can bring them right down. Now, edibles, of course, it's different, but yeah, there's always that option as well. But that's education.
Orange juice, water, just something to keep their mind off of it. Like, you know, anything.
The munchies, eating generally brings you down.
We had the coolest first aid kit at Camp Canna.
Yeah, we did.
That out there because we had like your regular emergency first aid kit, but then we had orange juice, we had munchies, we had everything you can eat. We had CBD. What do you need? We got you in there.
And that, ladies, is so cool. Okay, really it is.
Well, sometimes, you know, you just need someone to come up with a bag of chips and sit beside you for a minute.
Yeah, put a blanket around you and go, hey, man, how you feeling? Wow, man, I'm just so high.
And that's where the Vibe Tribe really is a huge thing for us at Camp Canna, because they're not volunteers. They're part of the heart. You know, they're there if you want to play a game, if you need someone to talk to, if you just need to know something. Love them. Yeah, they're great.
And it's about that caring, sharing, and community. It's about relieving the stigma of this is your brain on drugs. No, this is a community of people that love each other and want to help each other. And it's not like alcohol where there's a lot of anger when it's being consumed. Cannabis is pretty much the exact opposite of that.
I love that, because when we're consuming cannabis, we're achieving our higher self. We're being thoughtful. We're being kind. It's all good.
So, ladies, we're at an hour and a quarter. How are you guys feeling? Like, the husband's at home with the kids. How soon do you need to go?
Oh, we need to jet out of here, Ken. He's lost. No, I'm just kidding. I am
He's
blessed.
lost, all right. Okay.
I'm blessed. I am beyond blessed. I hear so many moms like, I had to leave a list and I was stressed the whole time. No, I have the most amazing dad for my kids, and I never have to leave them a list, and I never have to tell them what gets done. You know, sometimes some stuff might not get done the way I would want it, but it's his area to do his own dad thing. So.
Well, and he knows, he's been living with you long enough. He knows what he can get away with. Face it.
Oh, as if he's scared of me when I'm gonna look up 6 feet and be like,
and he's an amazing grower too, and that's the reason you love him too. and he's an amazing grower as well.
Yeah, he's just an amazing human being.
Yeah,
and that's where we laugh. Alexis is like our Switzerland. We made a video where Ryan is Steve, me and you and our friend Steve, but this is Steve for real. It's me and Ryan and Steve.
And I'm just there. Yeah.
But it's beautiful. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Well, like Silly Lily says, he's a keeper.
He really is. Yeah.
So how about we do, Jet? You guys make sure everybody that sees the video to check out the description. You guys are going to send me a link for the event in January so I can put it into the description of this show.
Oh, look at you
okay.
Go. You can also find it in the meantime while Ken is doing technology and teaching us technology on our Instagram. There's a link in our bio, bluntsandbeans.ca. There's a little button you can click on there to get to your ticket purchase.
Yeah, we got it all linked up. Linkity-doo.
Clicky clack.
And can they buy Camp Canna tickets already?
No, Camp Canna tickets, as always, will go on sale on 4/20. Yes.
It gives us time to prepare.
Yes, time to plan. And also find a spot for Ontario, because Ontario tickets are going to go on sale before Alberta tickets this year.
Ooh, okay.
Ontario tickets hopefully by March. We'll see.
Okay.
Have the
who are you getting together with out there? Or you guys are just doing it solo out there? Do you have...
Oh, Ken, we can't tell you all our secrets.
Okay, come on, baby.
We have so many amazing souls in this industry all over at all corners of this beautiful country. That literally have been cheering for us since we became Blunts and Beans, and we're just so blessed to have them. And we know that the second we find a spot and it's go time, we have the right boots on the ground where we need them. So yeah, who they are are yet to be publicized.
Who you're partnering up with is yet to be determined, and you know we'll let you have it hang this time, okay?
You got to get the ink dry.
Yeah.
Who's using ink? You're supposed to use blood. Yeah. Okay, come on.
Like Camp Canna is our baby, you know what I mean? Like it's our thing.
Yes.
We're keeping it our thing. But at the end of the day, it's by community for consumer, community, right? So it's just it's everybody's thing at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like Camp Canna could have been your thing, Ken, like where you came and you met people and you did the thing. It's all about creating a culture of community and connection. So just now that I feel like we kind of got it, like, you know, our vehicle's built now, it's maintenance and it's keeping it going. It's going to grow. 75% of the people that came this year found out from friends.
Yeah.
That's insane. You know what I mean? Like a word of mouth marketing to be that effective year over year. Insane. And it's not going to, I don't think it's going to decrease next year. I think the people that came had a really good time. You know what I mean? More people with bigger networks came to share too. And I just think that it'll start going on its own, propelling. So it's time to copy, paste, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat.
And that's why you're having the event in January. That's why. Are you guys looking at having another high tea in the summertime again?
I mean,
Yep.
we are, yes.
So we've been
Most
talking
likely.
about it.
Actually, it's so funny because Elizabeth Bud Betty, she messaged me today and she's like, people are reaching out to me and wondering if we're doing the high tea. And I'm just like, so like, I went right from Camp Canna right into the seasonal sesh. So like, it's like, I'm like, so like event, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, the high tea is in May. Let's worry
Calm
about
down.
it in the new year.
Yeah, we got time. We got plenty of time.
I love what you're saying.
The
Yes.
high tea, though, there isn't. It's not that there isn't as much that goes into it, but there's not as much like little moving parts
Yeah.
and a million people. It's just us
Intimate
having
gathering.
a nice Mother's Day tea.
Mm-hmm. Those are Jolene's events, you know, like the events that fill Jolene's bucket are the little intimate gatherings.
Well, see, it was me, your husband, and brother. You know, we're the only guys there. Okay, I don't know how I ended up there. You know,
it was good.
It was.
Stats repping strong, and it was so nice to have you guys all there and participating.
Well, and you're teaching us how to roll properly. There was lots of ladies there that remembered me at Camp Canna from my being at high tea.
Yes.
Well, that's what the events are for, right? It's creating that community experience. You don't ever have to feel scared to come to one of our events solo, because you will find your entire group of people while you were there, and you will leave with so many friends.
Somebody told me this year at Camp Canna that they were feeling okay. The things that people say to us after Camp Canna are like,
I cry.
Man, I could still cry today going back and reading it, like just like touching, you know, like, oh my gosh. But while I was at Camp Canna face to face, somebody told me that their parents passed away, and they used to do this big family gathering every year, like a big family reunion. And the siblings just fight now, I guess. So they just don't have it anymore. And she was really missing that feeling like she was part of a family thing. But she gets that feeling from Camp Canna. And I was like, man, like that, whoo, right to my heart. Yeah. People that like what was that fear called? It's a phobia. This lady messaged us, she had a phobia. And essentially what it is she just is scared to leave her house. Like she feels safe in her home, but she doesn't like leaving her house for anything at all. But she came to Camp Canna, which to me, I was like, dude, that is big.
That's bold.
Like that is huge.
You didn't take a little step.
Like you jumped over the cliff there. But like to hear that she like did not feel at all uncomfortable at Camp Canna, that it was just like the perfect vibe for her, and that she's so happy she did it, and like she feels like more
like a week later she was still riding that vibe and you know, just being somewhere where you can be accepted. And I've made a friend like that in the past. My friend moved into someone and we're like, hey, you know, we're just right outside your door smoking a joint. If you wanted to come just right outside your door and try it with us. And she did. And then the next week she sat outside with us. And then the week after that, the kids were playing in the yard and we sat for an hour. Like, sometimes it just takes having that support system and feeling loved in your environment. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be someone who has a problem with us, and that's okay because we got a whole community that loves us, baby.
You know it. Okay. And that's one of the best parts about the cannabis community. And, you know, we're a global entity. We're in every religion. We're in every country on this planet. Where you can go and put your fingers together and go, and somebody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And it's an amazing thing to be treated like family.
Even cannabis clothing is becoming more acceptable. You can wear it out in public. And unless you know, you would never know that that's what that shirt is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has the brand's name on it, but other than that, it looks like an everyday t-shirt you would wear from any other company. And we were at a birthday party and a mom came up to Lexus. I was unsuspecting of this mom, but it was a beautiful moment because she's seen her shirt and she just very casually said, I also really love their beverages.
Yeah.
And that's all she had to say.
And then I
they
was
knew.
like, oh, nice. And I had
Yeah.
no idea. Also, the cashier at Toys R Us. Yeah, I went for Kay's birthday party. I was wearing my Catalyst sweater. He's like, nice sweater. I was like, thanks. You know, and you know.
You'd be amazed at who consumes, you know? I mean,
Yes.
You're working at Toys R Us
Well,
today.
and Connoisseur Carrie said it the best. She is a beautiful advocate in the community because she looks like a mom. She talks like a mom. She is a mom. She does all the mom things, the PTA, the extracurricular.
She's that mom.
But it's so much easier for people to approach her.
Yeah.
Because she just looks like a caring, loving mom. Let's
Yeah.
have an open, honest conversation.
Yeah.
And it's that honest conversation that really opens a lot of hearts and minds to the medicinal side of, you know, plant medicine, etc.
Absolutely.
Plant medicine is huge. It's the way of the future, I tell you.
Cannabinoid therapy coming to you soon, okay?
Well, like, look at it. We're living proof of it right now. I would not be the human being I am today if I never, you know, smoked that first joint with my brother, or when I was young and my MS roommate in the hospital was sneaking out smoking doobies. And I was like, what are you doing over there? It's making you feel better? What is this? We're not allowed to do that. But you wouldn't know. And so cheers to growth.
Well, and it's like I was out in small town Stony Plain and sitting in the park, and I got out of the car, and here comes Buddy walking by me smoking a doobie, and he sat down. I said, so I walked up and said, "Oh, this is the smoking area," and it's like, "Oh yeah, here, man." You know, it's that community that we have that you would never know where you're going to find them, especially in Alberta, where you can pretty much smoke almost anywhere. We're lucky. We are very lucky.
We are very lucky, but also we can't smoke everywhere. I find BC is a little more luckier. Like, you can walk down the street in downtown Victoria on the sidewalk and no one's going to say anything middle of the day.
Yeah, I did that in Edmonton and nobody said anything to me.
You have to step off the sidewalk depending who's coming at you. You know, you got to read the people in the crowd a little bit more, I find, but we're getting there. And shout out to Marty. We need more people like you as neighbors, my friend.
Yes, definitely.
All right, Ken.
Okay, ladies. Well, blessings to you both. And what you do is absolutely amazing. Alexis, have fun in Victoria. And Jolene, my best wishes for you for what you're doing. So anyway, guys in the chat, thank you all for coming. Tomorrow we have Alluvial Soil Labs from North Cal on with Andy and myself. And we also have a discount code for them. They're doing both soil testing and biological testing for soils. So you're going to want to check that out. As for the sun and the moon, the ladies on Thursday, you're going to have to find out who's coming. Check out my IG. I'll be posting that tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, while we're shouting people out, guys, if you haven't checked out Ben's Lucky Turtle Army, please do my heart a huge favor. He's going back for physiotherapy in November, and anything donating towards the cause, of course, the government does not support this kind of physio. But since he started last year, he is now weight bearing, standing up on his own, and walking. So he needs to keep going. You can get really awesome turtle pendies. I actually just broke mine, or I'd show you. But I sent it back, and Narc Glass fixed it, and she's sending it back to me because she's a beautiful soul. And Narc Glass, also, if you haven't checked them out, they do all of that pro bono for them to just help Ben get there.
Fantastic. Anyway, guys, peace out, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.